Hi friends, today we are going to be adding color to our 1-point perspective towns. Now you can use whatever kind of materials you would like. You can use colored pencils, crayons, watercolor. It's going to be whatever you have to work with. Some students actually decided that they wanted to do some of the smaller detail in crayons and colored pencils, and if they had watercolor they could do some of these bigger areas like the sky and the road in watercolor. That's totally up to you. I just want to show you some simple shading techniques that you can do to make it look more three-dimensional and more realistic. We've definitely done this before, but I am going to be using some colored pencils for this because I feel like I can get a little bit more detail. Now when I'm doing my shading, I do have my sun in my picture, and so any sides of my trees or my buildings that are facing towards the sun, so the trees would be the right-hand side, the buildings would be the left-hand side, those are going to be where my lighter colors are, and my darker colors will be to the opposite side. So my trees, the shadows would be to the left, my buildings would be, the shadows would be to the right. And again, in those little alleyways, you might have a shadow also. So when I do my shading, what I'm going to do, and you can always just use one color as well, or you could use two, depends on what you have. I would start by pressing hard on the side where the shadow isn't, and then as I go across, I would press lighter. Okay, for some of these smaller trees, it's going to be a lot easier. You're going to have darker, and then it's going to gradually fade to lighter. You can even use a lighter brown too if you want, or kind of blend those colors to get the color that you want. I'm going to do a bigger tree just so you can see it better. So again, I'm going to press hard to that left side, and as I get closer to that other side, I'm going to press lighter. Blend those colors just so that you have, make it look more like a tree, you can. Some hard, and then as I go across, I'm going to press lighter. If you want to make those shadows even darker, you definitely could go in with a black here and just kind of shade it in if you want to make those shadows even darker, but that's up to you. Okay. So now for my shading on the treetops. I know I haven't finished all those, but now my shading on the treetops, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do darker green to the left and lighter green to the right. And also that darker green might be where there would be a shadow from the tree behind it too. Again, you can definitely use two different colors, or you could just press hard and then get lighter as well. I'm going to use two different greens here. So I'm going to put the lighter green on the side that's facing towards the sun. And then I'm going to blend them in the middle. So you have your darker green on the left, and I might even go in and press a little harder just to make that shadow even darker. Again, you didn't have to use two different greens like I did. You could always use, and I might just use some texture in here too for the tree's leaves and do kind of a little swirl in there. The darker is facing away from the sun, the lighter side is facing towards the sun. Now same with your buildings, you can do the same thing, but this time it's going to be the opposite. It's going to be the left is going to be your lighter side. And then as you go across your building, you're going to press darker. So the darkest side is going to be to the right. Just little things here and there you can add to your shading just to make it look more realistic, but again, you can color them in however you want. I would probably press hard and color the alleyway in darker too, because there would be more of a shadow in there. But also my door, I can do the same thing, color it light, and then as I go across, it's gonna get darker. You can definitely use a different color. You could just press harder on one side. If I wanted to make that shadow a little bit darker, I could even go in with an orange here to make that shadow a little darker. Okay? But it is truly up to you how you would like to color in your building, but just little things here and there like that that you can use to do your shading. Think about where there would be a shadow, and the sun really does help to have that light source. I won't make you sit here and watch me color this whole thing, but I will post a picture of this all finished, so if you need some ideas of how to color it, but it's totally up to you. Be creative and add whatever kind of designs, colors you would like. This is your town.